You know, it's terribly unfair. For people who live in Northern California, there's always been San Francisco and Oakland, as if somehow it were a lesser city. It was less fun, less hip, less gay. Well, that is no longer the truth. And proof in point, our two next guests, Richard Fuentes, and I forgot your name, it's so terrible, Sean Sullivan, founders of Port Bar in Oakland. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, when did Oakland become a gay night spot, and is it all because of you?
I like to think that it's all because of us, but Oakland has long been a LGBT, not just destination, but home for many families. In 2000, the census showed that it was the highest concentration of female couples in the entire country. So the fact that a 7-day-a-week gay bar took to 2017 to open in downtown 7 days a week is really just a long time coming.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does seem kind of antithetical. I mean, I've been in San Francisco in the Bay Area for 30 years, and until, you know, a couple of years ago, if someone said, oh, I want to get together and go to the bar or do something clubbing that was, you know, around the gay community, it was like, oh, always hop on BART and come to the Castro. I mean, there's always been a there as far as the gay community in Oakland. How do you find it as a community?
You know, I've been in West Oakland for 10 years, and I love Oakland. Oakland is diverse. It reminds me of back home in Los Angeles. But most importantly, you know, it's a town. It's a neighborhood. And we all know each other. And being at the bar, you open the doors every day, and you see the same faces. And you see those same faces because we're more of that neighborhood bar serving our local neighborhood.
Right. I mean, it is kind of Oaktown now. I mean, it really is a neighborhood feel. Now, you're originally from L.A. You've been here how long?
10 years.
And you're originally from New York?
Yes.
For how long?
15 years.
And the two of you met, what was it you said before we started, professional connections? I love that. I'm wondering if that's like a code for something. Yeah.
If only, no.
Yeah. Sean used to be the president of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, and I used to be a member. And we met at a luncheon, and from there we hit it off, and 9.5 years later, here we are at the Port Bar. And
so now you're raising funds for your own business.
We're drink by drink. We're
drink by drink,
yeah.
Raising funds. So what's more challenging, raising money for, you know, a good cause, nonprofit sector, or opening your own business?
You know, I think they're both equally challenging. I think the training I received in mental health definitely is like good preparation for dealing with people who, whether they've come in the door, have had too much somewhere else, or having that happen here is like, that's definitely preparation training. But I think, you know, trying to meet a payroll every week, whether you're depending on grants or private donations, or just trying to get people in the doors to enjoy our tasty beverages, both are very challenging.
Right, right. What is it that makes Oakland kind of the gay burb of the moment? Because a lot of people have been saying that. I mean, San Francisco is expensive. It's always been expensive, but nowadays it seems even more so. When I moved to the Castro in San Francisco 30 years ago, you could still afford an apartment. Now you hear more and more about men, and obviously a lot of women, moving to Oakland and really having a nexus of a gay community there. How does Oakland differentiate itself from the quote-unquote gay districts in San Francisco?
Well, you know, I think that people are coming to Oakland because they're looking to live in a real neighborhood. They're looking to know who lives down the street. And that, I don't feel, really happens in San Francisco or any major city where you have LGBT bars. And in Oakland, when I first moved to Oakland, I moved to Oakland because I wanted to own my home, and that was impossible even during the recession of 2008 to be able to stay in San Francisco. So just like us and many other LGBT folks from San Francisco, we headed to Oakland because we had no other opportunity if we wanted to become homeowners. But in that process, and in doing an LGBT bar, we wanted to really make sure that the neighborhood reflected the bar. And we did a series of focus groups to really see what Oaklanders wanted to see inside the space. So when people walk into the Port Bar, they see Oakland, they see their neighborhood, and they see people that looks like them. Whether you're white, African American, or Latino, or Asian, you feel comfortable in the space.
Or man or woman. So I mean, you've got a healthy mix as far as gender.
We've always referred to it as an LGBT bar, and not just a gay bar, because that is Oakland. Oakland is very diverse and intermingled between people. We respect and celebrate diversity amongst each other. And we found that in the focus groups that Richard talked about, people wanted a space that wasn't overly one gender or the other.
What's it like working with your husband? I ask that as someone who works with my husband too, so I'm always curious what people say.
It's very enjoyable. I love working with him. I think we enjoy each other as much, and it makes it fun because, you know, we could wake up in the morning and have a crazy idea, and by the afternoon we're implementing it. And I think that's what makes it fun, where you're able to have an idea and just run with it for the day.
Right. Well, which one of you has the crazy ideas? My husband, Alfredo, always says the 5 scariest words in the English language are me saying, honey, I have an idea. So,
you know, I think one of the reasons that works so much and has worked for so long is that we're very similar in our craziness, but in a lot of ways. We're both very self-motivated. We both care about the community. That's how we met in nonprofit. And our first conversation, it sounds a little hokey, is about faith, family, and service. Like that doesn't, I don't think, happen at most places where you meet at a gay bar. But we just talked about what motivated us to be involved, and I never had this connection with anybody so quickly before. And I think that every day, whether we're doing it at the bar or whether it's when we're walking our dog down Mandela Parkway, it's super awesome because we're continuing to build on that first conversation.
Right. So now Oakland had a really rough time a few months ago with the devastating Ghost Factory fire. How did that impact you as business? I mean, your bar is very new. You've barely been open a year. I wasn't physically here, but I spoke to friends who are in Oakland, and they said it just really impacted the city. And there were members of the trans community who were killed in that fire. What did it do to you? Do you remember when it happened?
Vividly. We lost customers. It was very sad for us. People that we were new. We still are new, so we didn't know their names, but I certainly knew their faces, and it was very devastating. One of our staff arrived at that fire at the same time the fire trucks did. He was supposed to be there helping one of the DJs, and so we are very, very fortunate and glad that he wasn't there earlier. But so many of the people that we serve on a regular basis were going to that party, and thankfully were either able to get out or didn't get there in time for what that happened. And it was just, I think, more telling for us and the community about why we're there, that there's not a lot of safe spaces for LGBT people still in 2017 Oakland to gather or to feel comfortable.
So did people, did they come to Port after that to kind of talk and share?
Absolutely. People came to the bar, people cried, people engaged in conversations. And Sean and I would share this with everybody who works with us, we really believe about giving back to the community. And one thing that we actually did was we partnered with one of our vendors and with a group of our DJs, one in particular, and we hosted a fundraiser. So we raised nearly $6,000 to benefit the victims for the art organization that was providing some of the funds. Right. So this is how we see our ways of being involved in the community and also giving back, because we're only going to be there as long as people are supporting us.
Right. We've only got about a minute left. Talk to me about what your plans are for Port, and where did the name come from?
Well, the name came from the focus groups. So whether people are Oakland residents for 3 weeks or third generation, we found the common denominator is they felt a great pride in the city. And that pride was expressed by its working class history. It's where we come together, we figure problems out, and we work together to lift each other up and solve them. And that's reflected in the port. And the shipping containers there and the cranes are something that people are like, that's Oakland, our working class background. And so we wanted to reflect that. And so most of the major design elements in the building are repurposed and recycled from other places in Oakland.
Right. We've got about 30 seconds left. Tell me what you'd like someone to take away from their experience of Port.
When someone comes to the Port Bar, I want them to have a great time. But most importantly, Oakland doesn't have an LGBT center. So I like to share with folks that the Port is the LGBT center, but with alcohol.
So you can go and you can experience the history of Oakland
Absolutely.
and also have a good drink. Now, real quick, we have a few more seconds. You said you have had some political visitors.
Yes. So we had 4 members of Congress all together at once, including our own Congresswoman Barbara Lee and Congressmember DeSaulnier, in last month for a fundraiser that they held for Congressmember Poquin, a gay Congress
Great.
member.
So it's becoming the political spot to be as well.
Yes,
Well, I hope so.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with the owners of Port Bar, the hip new LGBT bar in downtown Oakland. I'm David Perry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on 10%.